then. So boy, if you wanna live, you better treat ruthless savage good. Cause why tonight? Ruthless savage and the stepping ways. Don't you watch his size, he's dangerous. Can I tell you again, people? Don't you watch? Yeah, some people stand up and just watch your business. Tell them what they want, cause why? I say if you leave ruthless savage, this Ramadan Thursday. Put up your hand, put up your lighter. If you leave rock out with me now, wake up. You see them two sound there? Right now. I feel it's in the glass house. You don't throw stones. But then that alone, hold on, me now waste the time, hear me? If you wanna live, let me tell you, treat me good. Sound boy, if you wanna live, yes. If you wanna live, balance, Johnny gonna dance all Godfather. Line up, people, how you ready? Line up. Dance all Thursday, line up. 3, 2.
Right here, state of Minnesota, where are the kids? They got paid $1.26 million in fiscal year 2025. It says they have a capacity for 74 children. When? Where are the kids? Right here. What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids. It says you have 102 children here.
Independent journalist Nick Shirley teamed up with Minnesota whistleblower.
dadka dib u dhaco kale waan soo gelinaa waa meel safe ku ah nafsadooda. This is the water. albaabkan waxa way proof waa albaabkaas oo hadii qofka hoos ka xirto.
This hotel hasn't welcomed any tourists in decades. Most of the guests are Somalian officials who fled their homes and sought refuge here with their families. Even the chief of police lives here. On the other side of the hotel, the security firm has installed cameras everywhere. The entire perimeter of the hotel can be monitored from these screens. And they can also keep tabs on the firm's armored vehicles thanks to GPS trackers. When there's a lack of official information on an attack, social media is used to get the latest news.
Here we have Twitter, which we can follow the latest news internationally and locally. Here we have Zakia Hussein, Deputy Police Commissioner, Somali Police Force. So she tweeted that a Toyota Noah VBID went off near security checkpoint at kilometer 4 junction. It's about 100 meters away from us here.
We got hold of this footage the same night. There were 12 fatalities and over 30 people injured. Located on the Horn of Africa, Somalia has been ravaged by civil war, piracy, Islamist terrorism, and famine since 1991. Over the past 30 years, there have been over 500,000 deaths. Over Over the past 30 years, there have been over 500,000 deaths. In 1992, French politician Bernard Kouchner came to Mogadiscio and gave out bags of rice donated by school children.
Absolument envoyer des médecins du matériel. Ils n'ont pas de drap pour être enterrés. Ils n'ont pas de nourriture pour survivre.
Somalia has been under the control of the Al-Shabaab terrorist militant group since 2006. Their soldiers occupy almost two-thirds of the land and are threatening the city of Mogadiscio. Since they infiltrated the capital, bombings have doubled. They are responsible for thousands of Somali deaths.
Had a second purpose besides, the teaching of health and basic hygiene. Nothing remotely like it had ever been tried before. For the first time in their history, the Somali peoples were brought together as a whole, not as rival clans or factions, but as a nation, eager, from these small beginnings with the reading and writing of their mother tongue, to grow and prosper for the common good. Doctors and teachers together, no matter how remote the community they visited, nor how poor communications, scoured the Somali countryside to carry out their missions of enlightenment. For the campaign, the entire nation was mobilized. Its every resource, both human and material, were drawn upon. At the end of the first 6-month phase, its supporters and the nation's leaders turned out to greet the returning students who had played so large a part in its obvious success. It was time to acknowledge that this was also the first time the nation had benefited from the collective energy of its young people, of its students, who would be among its leaders tomorrow. And in thanksgiving for this fact, great festivals of youth were held throughout the country. In Mogadishu, President Siad himself attended these festivals, presenting medals and scrolls to all who had distinguished themselves over the grueling half-year. With the campaign, the Somali people had reached a peak of national unity. Its benefits seen, progressive forces throughout the country stood ready to defend the gains of the revolution. Students now, with teachers, youth groups, doctors, farmers, engineers, and the armed forces themselves, were all united in their resolve to carry the nation further still. Now publicly accepted as active participants in their country's struggle, the nation's youth celebrated with colorful displays of their achievements and their future hopes.
1991. Children as young as 8 take part in the fierce and bitter fighting that continues as the powerful clans now battle each other for supremacy. Mogadishu, a once beautiful city split by a front line dividing disputed clan territories.
In October, Somalia goes to the ballot in a landmark election. But it will not be your ordinary one-man, one-vote election like many Ugandans are accustomed to. Unlike in 2012, where only 135 clan leaders elected national leaders, Somalia is now expanding its electoral college in a bid to foster inclusiveness.
Every clan leader will be able to identify through the clan system 51 clan members to elect one MP. So for every member of parliament, there must be 51 clan members to elect, identified through a clan system with an elder of one of the 35.
The presidential elections in October provide another first for the country. Harvard University-educated Fadumo Dayib could go down the annals of Somali history as the first woman to run for the high office. Dayib is not in Somalia at the moment, and when I spoke to her via Skype from Finland, I asked her why she was challenging the status quo in a country ranked as one of the worst places on earth to live as a woman.
Political participation has been an area where they've been excluded. Women have informal leadership inside the country. What we want to do is we want to formalize that, to make it a formal leadership that sits at every level of leadership in the society. We're not going to negotiate our existence. We're here, and we're going to sit on this table. We are not asking for permission.
So we are trying to mobilize women, not only to participate, but we need to look for candidates who can contest in their clans and women.
The members of parliament will be voted by an electoral college of 15,000 people, while the president will be voted by the two houses, the Senate and the federal parliament. Dayib openly discusses her candidature for the presidency, but feels that the clan system of voting is archaic and does not support the democracy promised by the regime of President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud.
And it is because of these failures, this incompetency, that we are back to a system that is illegitimate, it is unconstitutional, it's undemocratic, and it suppresses and subjugates 99% of the Somali population.
Dayib's candidature casts a spotlight on the role of women in politics in a country governed by the Sharia law and known to have a tough stance on women. No wonder then that Dayib claims she has received numerous death threats since she declared her candidature in September 2014.
For me, the risks are double or even twice compared to a male candidate, because I'm not only seen as a female candidate, I'm seen as someone who's going against the religion, who's going against the culture.
Do you want to study psychology and learn how it shapes people and workplaces? I'm
After more than 20 years of conflict, in 2012, Somalia began a period of stabilization and peace building with some important achievements, such as the adoption of a provisional constitution, completing the state formation process, and organizing 2 sets of legislative and presidential elections in 2012 and 2016. Although Somali women continue to be significantly underrepresented in public life and decision-making processes, an important progress was achieved in the 2016 elections thanks to sustained and focused effort of many concerned stakeholders, including international community, the UN, local governmental partners and civil society. The 2016 elections brought 67 women MPs in the lower house and 13 women in the upper house of the federal parliament, constituting 25% representation of women in their respective chambers. This is roughly a 10% increase compared to the previous legislature.
taariikh way ahayd taariikh waxay ahayd maaragtay halganka haweenka Soomaaliyeed ku soo biirtay guusha la gaarana iyaga kaligood ma dhalin laakiin way u dhabar adeegeen sidii lagu gaari lahaa inkastoo musuqmaasuq uu jiray oo kuraas gabdhuhu leeyihiin ay ku waayeen musuqmaasuq iyo corruption ay ku waayeen haddana meel fiican aan soo gaarnay meel wanaagsan aan soo gaarnay 25% cayaar kuma imaanin waana guul runtii aad iyo aad maaragtay loogu faani karo dadkii gacanta nagu siiyana sharaf u ah.
Prior to the 2016 elections, UN Women, through its joint program on women's political participation, leadership and empowerment, enhanced the capacity of Somali women political candidates and aspirants and equipped women with tools and skills to ensure their political participation. For instance, in collaboration with the Ministry of Women and Human Rights Development, UN Women tasked goodwill ambassadors to support the implementation of women quota to work out a specific formula according to which the 30% reserved seats for women would be distributed in a clan-based electoral system.
waxaan ku guuleysanay in la sameeyo guddigan la yiraahdo goodwill ambassadorska waxa runtii aad iyo aad ay ugu dadaaleen guddigaasi in qodob kamid ay noqoto qodobada doorashada lagu hirgelinayo 30% in qoondada haweenka ugu yaraan loo qoondeeyo oo meel loo dhigo in qabiiladaas afarta ah laga helo min 18 gabdhood qabiilka beesha shanaadna oo 31 leh ayagana 9 gabdhood in la helo.
Despite this great achievement, there is a lot more to be done.
Hello, I'm Priya Mohan. Today we travel to the Horn of Africa to talk to human rights activist Ilvat Elman from Somalia about women, her rape crisis center, and the role of media in conflict zones. She's been shortlisted for the Nobel Peace Prize 3 times, and she's considered one of the most influential voices of Africa and the Somali peace process. Welcome to GMF Talk, Ms. Elman.
Thank you very much for having me.
Somalia is currently electing a new parliament, and it looks like both chambers will include around 30% of women delegates. In politics and beyond, what is the current situation of women in Somalia?
Well, the 30% quota that we're looking for is a crucial first step towards the equal representation of women in all sectors of life, and for them to be a part of the processes that ensure their own well-being. There's a real concern right now in the current elections that the levels of representation of women will decrease. With the political stalemate that we've been facing in Somalia since February, the political tensions and the violence that we've been experiencing over the last couple of months, we have seen the hard-won gains and the progress made over the last 10 years being threatened. The political environment in Somalia is not conducive to women, with many male leaders promoting male candidates. The financial entry points being limiting not only for women, but ever more so for youth. With a population of 78% of the population under the age of 30, this is ever discriminative. It costs $5,000 to compete for a parliamentary seat, $20,000 for a contender for a senator seat. These challenges are compounded by violence and discrimination, and all through a system that is inherently discriminative, exclusionary, and patriarchal. And through our work at the Elman Peace Center, we try to apply attention and pressure on all the key actors to support women's participation and representation in the elections.
As you said, the Elman Peace Center, you're committed to end the sexualized violence, a crime that often affects women, right? But to what extent should we expand that statement to include men and children of all genders?
Well, we believe by tackling gender inequality through political participation of women, we believe they'll be able to address the root of gender-based violence. And when we talk about gender-based violence, it is certainly not just something that affects women and girls. Men and boys have been the targets of systemic and extensive gender-based violence in Somalia. It's usually clan-related. Their young men are threatened with death. They're subject to torture. They're profoundly humiliated. They're coerced to participate in militia groups and terrorist organizations. Men and boys have been forced to perpetuate and to witness rape and other sexual violations against women and girls, including their own family relatives. And it's still a concept that many Somali people are struggling with to understand, but the devastating social and psychological consequences of war on men is often overlooked, and the entire concept of gender has become a women's issue. Throughout Somalia, the prevalence of rape is the highest in camps and the internally displaced people settlements, and it's particularly affecting minority groups. But there has been a shift towards collective or gang rape that is perpetrated by youth from different clans, a little-known phenomenon that we didn't have before the war. The targets of this kind of collective rape are now including children, orphans, street children, male children, as well as women and girls. There's also growing information about male-on-male sexual violence in Somalia. This is often seen in detention facilities through our work with the rehabilitation and reintegration of young people that we're supporting to disarm and reintegrate into society. We see that the weapon of sexual violence is also something that men and young boys are perpetuated against.
Moving to the media landscape, recently, Abdi Aziz Mohammed Guled, a prominent Somali journalist and critic of the Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab, was recently killed in Mogadishu. And Reporters Without Borders continues to list Somalia as Africa's most dangerous countries for media personnel. Now, could you just tell us something about the current media landscape and the reporting of these insensitive and precarious subjects?
Somalia for a long time has been one of the most dangerous places for journalists, and we see that with very little support, very restricted.
Recently, Abdi Aziz Mohammed Guled, a prominent Somali journalist and critic of the Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab, was recently killed in Mogadishu. And Reporters Without Borders continues to list Somalia as Africa's most dangerous countries for media personnel. Now, could you just tell us something about the current media landscape and the reporting of these insensitive and precarious subjects?
Somalia for a long time has been one of the most dangerous places for journalists, and we see that with very little support, a very restrictive environment, that young, brave journalists continue to report from the front lines on both the progress of the society but also the regress, and often at the front lines of the war. We see an ever shrinking space for civil society, which includes journalists as well too. So they remain under threat, and this is an issue that is causing a lot of challenges for the community to also be aware of the changes that are happening so rapidly. And we definitely believe there's a war on journalists, and the unfortunate and untimely and senseless death of Mr. Abdi Aziz is a reminder of that, a painful reminder of that.
But to further your cause, what you are doing currently, what role does the media play now? And how do you use TV, social media, or other forms of journalistic communications to raise awareness?
We use the media in various ways through our work, and not only just to send messages outside of Somalia, to raise advocacy, to push for policy priorities, to create ripples and layers of solidarity where we're able to communicate what's happening at the grassroots level, to also apply pressure from the international community down back into our society, but also to educate our own constituents, our community, our number one stakeholder. And what is a little known fact probably about Somalia is that we are very digitally connected. I think recently Somalia was ranked as the 7th cheapest place in the world for internet, for high-speed internet. And that also motivates our use of social media to create campaigns on Instagram and Facebook, to really target the younger demographic, and to create opportunities for critical thinking by not only dispelling myths, but also giving maybe a softer way to digest the big issues that we work on. So the communication is a critical part of our work.
sababta u jeclaada waxay ahayd aniga horta inta badan waxaa ahay gabar jecel shaqooyinka ay ragga qabtaan inay qabato.
But every single day of Mariama's working life, men tell her she shouldn't be doing her job. There are very few camera women in Somalia, but plenty of men who have an opinion about Mariama's chosen path. Imagine being a camera woman and living in a culture like Somalia's, being judged every time you go out and do your job. Mariama always gives as good as she gets.
mideeda kale ama ay laamiga ma qamaan maanta ma qamaan laamiga nagu foodeys ma taqaanaa waa dheer tahay saana tahay caata tahay ebra tahay kana tahay maalin kastana laade mideeda kale waxa soo dhan maxaa ka bedeli karnaa.
Even working for the most powerful man in Mogadishu doesn't protect Mariama from harassment. Once among Somalia's most feared warlords, Omar Filish is the mayor and governor of the local region.
gudoomiyaha shaqadeyda iyo xirfadeyda iyo qofnimadeyda ayuu sida uga helay saas ayuu ku dhahay gabadh aniga halay keeno aniga waxay ii noqonaysaa muqaadoobayga gaarka ah saas shaqadaas ku imaaday.
Today, Omar Filish is visiting an orphanage for more than 800 girls, many of whom lost their parents in Somalia's long-running civil war. For Nurta, who runs the orphanage, women's rights are crucial to Somalia's future. Many men, she says, show no concern at all for Somali women struggling to survive on the streets, but get very upset when a professional like Mariama dares to step into male territory.
qof haysato gabadhaas qoraxda fadhido ee xaamilka ee dhabarka u nuujinayso ee qoraxda wax ku goobaynayso cid dhahayso gabadhaan meeshaan ha laga badbaadiyo aw rageeda ma jirto laakiin markay waxay isnadiifisay wiilka agtiisa soo istaagto oo ragay la tartantaa leeyahay marka taas waa cunsurinimo waa xaasidnimo waa dulmi waa xadgudub mana ogolaan karno taas waa ka soo horjeednaa.
When Mariama is not out filming, she's based at the mayor's compound. These men are part of Omar Filish's security team, which makes them Mariama's colleagues. A 25-year-old single mother enjoys workplace banter with these men and believes their attitude towards women has changed due to the experience of working with her.
wiilashaas walaaladii askarta shaqadeeda way la qabsadeen wax caadi ka tahay wayna u ixtiraamaan in badan wayna aaminsan yihiin inay gabar wax walba ay qaban karto because ana ka dhadhacsiiyay oo maalin walba la joogo oo hal sano iyo
Mariama might well have changed her male colleagues' attitudes, but there is something she cannot do anything about. Take legal action against any harasser. Somalia has no laws against sexual harassment and no effective courts. That's not going to stop Mariama though.
laakiin ani muhiimadda koowaad aan saaro dadka sadalowdooda iyo waxay dhahayaan si igu furfuriyaan ma bahan ani muhiimadeedu waxay tahay shaqada aan meeshan u imaaday inaan qabsado kaliya intaas wax gooniya aan dareeman ma jirto
It's the weekend in Somalia. Mariama and her friends are going on a day trip outside Mogadishu, a rare opportunity to escape the daily judgment and harassment of men. Despite the barriers women face, Mariama is determined to keep going, to prove men wrong, and to pave the way for the next generation of Somali women.
xamisanahay halka mid kaliya ee waxaan ugu jooji karo gabar kasto oo shaqadeeda iyadoo caadiga ahayd ku jirto oo la dhaho waxa ma qaban karto in dhagool iska dhigto ee shaqadeeda sii qabsato gabadhii markaas walaasheeda oo garab u baahan inay ku caawiso oo iskarab istaagaan halkaas mid ayaa lagu jooji karaa la tahay
Get that big game flex with EETV. Flex your EETV and catch January's biggest games.
This is the Head and Shoulders guy.
Head and Shoulders? Didn't know you had dandruff.
I don't.
Habla iyo wiilal heer sara la dhashay utuma
dhaantada utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma walaba isku haboon gayaankan iselay jacayl bay hirgasheen namaan huwano hambaliyo heesna way mutaysteene utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma walaba isku haboon gayaankan iselay jacayl bay hirgasheen namaan huwano hambaliyo heesna way mutaysteene utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma waaroosmoodiyo hantiya sharaf loo halabuuriyo hubul laqaaliyahba heesaha u cusho u hagarbaxayay utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma waaroosmoodiyo hantiya sharaf loo halabuuriyo hubul laqaaliyahba heesaha u cusho u hagarbaxayay utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma uhibeeyay ducada habeen qayloo dushilana awlaada habliya wiilala utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma uhibeeyay ducada habeen qayloo dushilana awlaada habliya wiilala utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma heelada hirwada dhaantada utuma